In this video, we're comparing the NEVE 1073lb 500 series preamp against the Wes Audio Phoebe, listening to audio examples, saturation, and diving into Plugin Doctor for technical analysis. Hi, Ed Thorne here. We all know NEVE, but the name Wes Audio may be new to some of you. Wes Audio are forging a strong reputation by combining analog gear with digital functionality, and their gear is a joy to use. On screen now is a specification comparison chart which is available to download for free from the members area of my website edthorne.com. The Phoebe hosts British-made Carnhill transformers found in numerous other popular preamps. The NEVE houses their own brand Marinair transformers. Both preamps take mic and line level inputs from the rear via the chassis, in my case the Wes Audio Supercarrier 2s and Titan. The front panels feature combination mic and line inputs, where the NEVE accepts line level via jack and the Phoebe via XLR. This facilitates a high Z input on the Phoebe, which the NEVE doesn't have. Both have very high analog input headrooms at plus 28 dBu. To put this in perspective, the Apollo X series audio interfaces operate at plus 24 dBu. The NEVE has 5 decibels more input gain available, but on what sound source would you ever need more than 60 dBs? I have no idea. Both preamps have stepped input gains across both mic and line inputs, the NEVE with increments of 5 decibels, and the Phoebe with 0.5 decibels on the mic inputs, and even finer tuning of 0.3 dBs on the line-ins for refined gain structuring. You'll notice the output pad on the Phoebe and trim on the NEVE are located at different points in the signal path. This is important, and we'll discuss this later in the video. Now, the noise floors, as listed by each company, are 5 decibels in NEVE's favour, but let's take a look in Plugin Doctor. The harmonic analyzer suggests the noise floors are virtually identical at 0 dB line-in being fed a 1 kHz sine wave at minus 18 dB out of my Apollo. The NEVE has fractionally higher levels of 2nd, 3rd, 5th and even 7th harmonics, but these are so low below minus 95 decibels, it's debatable whether these are audible. Now the NEVE is famous for being coloured, and that may be your preference, but either way, the Phoebe is definitely the cleaner preamp. Due to the lack of high Z input on the NEVE, we used a BSS AR133 DI box to record these bass examples. And if you haven't seen this video comparing the BSS DI against the Rupert NEVE, RNDI and the Apollo audio interface high Z inputs, I'll put a link in the description to this video. There were some very interesting results. Thanks to my friend Dan Francis Owen for playing this wicked bass part that really highlights the fidelity of these preamps. So I feel the NEVE has a fraction more sub-low-end frequency content, possibly making it better suited to bass and kicks. The Phoebe arguably has more attack, but it also has impeccable transient response. And if we dive into Plugin Doctor again, we can see why I think this might be the case. Firstly, we can see the Phoebe outputs approximately 2 decibels higher than the NEVE. Secondly, we see that both preamps have a low-end bump, about a decibel for the Phoebe and 2 for the NEVE. The NEVE also tails off a dB or so from 5K down to 20K, so dulls off a little in comparison. And I think this tail off provides a slight tilt, seemingly emphasizing the low end further in comparison. I think these characteristics can be heard further on a tenor saxophone. My friend Adriano Rossetti smashed out some flourishes to highlight the full frequency spectrum of the preamps. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as you listen. NEVE is thick and warm, with the Phoebe sounding clean, modern, and a little more neutral. Now, both of these preamps enable you to reamp audio through them using the line inputs on the back via your 500 series chassis. And this is where the micro-stepped gain on the Phoebe really comes into its own. The ability to fine-tune the saturation gives the Phoebe an edge, but the Phoebe has another trick up its sleeve. The 15 decibel attenuation pad is located after the final amp and transformer stage, so we can saturate the transformer as well as the amps before attenuating the amplitude. In comparison, the NEVE's trim is located before the final amp and output transformer stage. Here I've routed a snare drum out to both pieces. Now bear in mind this process can work with 2 copies of each unit in stereo mode on stereo buses for analog summing, for example. The Phoebe is very easy to fine-tune, and the additional transformer saturation can be applied by driving the output and then backing off the signal with the pad, which works on a cascade relay after the transformer. Control of this saturation on the NEVE is a little clunky, balancing the 5 decibel stepped gains with the output trim. In essence, the process is the same, but I found the Phoebe easier to dial in with the plugin providing visual aid. Now, the Phoebe's digital connection via USB or Titan rack facilitates communication with an indoor plugin. The hardware and plugin are completely integrated and communication flows both ways. This makes analog session recalling easy with the ability to save each session. This digital connectivity also means we can automate parameters easily, similar to an output volume or pan setting, and all this data is stored in your DAW's session data. With Phoebe, we can set the gain for a vocal or picked acoustic guitar part in the verse, and then automate the input level down as the vocalist projects more or the guitarist moves to full strumming in a chorus. Now yes, you could typically record these onto separate tracks using set gains and different compression settings, but you might not want to interrupt the flow of the performance. And you may want to use the same level of compression throughout the performance. The Phoebe seems to saturate at a lower threshold than the NEVE, and I suspect this is related to its 2 decibels higher output. I feel it has a slight mid-range lift, possibly caused by the lower saturation threshold, giving it a slightly higher perceived volume in comparison at the same input gains. The NEVE is a legacy piece for a reason. It just sounds good on everything, but the question is it the right sound for you? The NEVE has that classic warm sound, but if you want clean, neutral preamps with digital recall ability and finer gain increments for more control, maybe the Phoebe is right for you. All the audio examples in this video are available on my website, as well as the specification chart. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe for more analog comparisons. I've been Ed Thorne. It's been emotional.